All those figures that you saw in government, completely wrong. We've done all the financials. We've got people at the highest level doing financials. It's a fast. You saw the giant fish kills down in South Australia and Victoria. Guess where the waters start flowing? They start at the Snowy River. So the reason they actually closed Kosciuszko National Park, they said they were doing it for the Brumby-Cull, but they closed it because Snowy Hydro had to expand. And I can't say too much now, but I'll wait for the film. But basically, they blamed the Brumbies for something that we're doing because they needed a scapegoat. So, can you just, I'll just turn off the other microphone, I think I'm reverberating. So they needed a scapegoat. So in all these things where money's exchanging hands, and Lin will know this very well, and we're going to get Lin up really quickly after this because she's got to go at 7. Everywhere that money's changing hands, there are big situations done in the background that lies and deceit and corruption, and what they're doing is their staple diet. If you want to know exactly what's going on, everything that you hear in the media is completely opposite. Because in 2019, the Trusted News Initiative was created globally. Has anyone heard of the Trusted News Initiative? It's an initiative that was done with global media so that World Health Organization could take control of all our governments. And it goes to 193 countries. And any good media person here in Australia got sacked as part of that. So you saw Channel 7, Channel 9, all the independent medias went downhill. See, you guys, they've got to go to footy. So what we've got here is, it's up to us, because apathy is one of the 7 deadly sins. So we can blame these guys, we can get angry at them, or we can say, hang on a minute, no, we're going to stand up, we're going to fight for what we believe, and we recognise that this isn't right. So it's up to us to stand up and look at ourselves as well, and work out what we can do better in our lives, because every single change we make, someone else might make. Now, what if that person's the head of a company and they make those changes? So there is huge hope here, because what we have to do is we have to ignite the passion back in as many people as we can, because they've all got families and they might be distracted. They might be making decisions behind a desk, 4 walls. They don't go to the snowy mountains to make these decisions. They sit at a desk, they get told by science, and we've seen the science on the fire ants, on the same mob that does the Brumby-Cull does the fire ants here in Queensland. So if they're telling us what they need to tell us here, they're doing the same thing down there as well. So this is so important. You guys need to stand up for nature, stand up for our culture, stand up for identity, and stand up. The most important thing is for our environments and our beautiful places. But I just want to get Lin up here quickly, and the rest of the panel can come up after Lin, and you can ask any questions you want. But does anyone have any questions for Lin and her incredible film with trophy hunting?
Thank you. So fire away. I'm here to answer.
No, we're just grateful.
Thank you.
Very grateful.
The very, very first screening of the first film was in Marina del Rey in California, and the first screening of the film you just watched was in the House of Commons in London. Yes?
Presently, would you know how Trump is standing by the trophy hunters?
Yeah, okay, this is... Well, he is. Donald Trump personally thinks trophy hunting is an aberration, but unfortunately, his son, his eldest son, is the poster boy for Safari Club International and has said, Danny, can I bring in this trophy, which was actually illegal in the United States, so he's changed laws for his son, aside from which he gets obscene amounts of money from the NRA, who are in bed with Safari Club International, who he also gets obscene amounts of money for, so that's campaign funds, which buys legislation. Yes, exactly. So unfortunately, he personally, given the choice, would be on our side, but he's not. He's on the wrong side. Any other questions?
I want to know about your photographers, because that's just fantastic. Every shot.
Well, we had a number of photographers. I mean, you can see we filmed all over the world, and started filming during the pandemic, and when I was chained to the home front looking after my mother. So I actually recruited camera crew worldwide, and my production partner in Hollywood and I went in by Zoom, which would not have been acceptable prior to the pandemic, and directed. So it was some very interesting juggling of time zones all over the world to make that happen. And if we'd stayed and watched the credits, you would have seen there was a long list of credits of camera crew. So we picked them up from all over the world, and as you can see, some amazing talent there. But the post-production was done here in Australia, in New South Wales, with Brian Rapsey was our post-production wizard, and our sound technician was Nigel Christensen, who's actually an Oscar winner for the last Mad Max film. And Kirsty Lum did the final narration, because Cliff Simon, who did the narration for the first film, some of which we were able to use in the second film, was sadly, tragically and suspiciously killed straight afterwards. Next question. Blue hair.
Has it been a success to put this on social media and create a viral? I know it's shocking, but a lot of people love animals, to actually really bring some serious social pressure.
Well, we are on social media. I can't say it's gone viral, but we'd certainly welcome any assistance to do that.
That was my question. How can we help to get it out there?
Go to bandtrophyhunting.org, because they've got my films, other films. The main thing you can do is write to politicians, and I mean old-fashioned steam letters with stamps.
Yeah.
They take much more notice of actual letters than emails. And who to write to and what to say is all on bandtrophyhunting.org.
But the politicians don't listen to the basics, because we know that they're blackmailed, corrupt.
There are corrupt politicians. There are also good ones. You saw some in that film. And there is a lot of bribery and corruption. That certainly happens. You know, you can't begin to say it doesn't. But people power does count. The ocean isn't a vast body of water. It's made up of individual drops. And the more of our drops that add together, the more we become a powerful tsunami. Which is why you need to go to bandtrophyhunting.org, learn what to say, learn who to say it to, and say it and tell other people to say it, because that's how we've managed to get the laws changed in the countries that we have and the carriers that we have. I mean, as Kirsty said, this isn't an on-off switch. You've got to look at, there's wild trophy hunting, there's canned trophy hunting. It's happening in various countries around the world. You've got to look at the shipping carriers, ships, planes, other methods. You've got to look at the import laws in the various countries that the trophy hunters come from. This is an enormously complex can of worms. Australia has now brought in bans on all of the major species trophy hunting, so go Aussie. And as you saw in the film, a number of other countries have brought in those bans. Over 70 airlines now have a full or partial ban on carrying these trophies. So it's a multi-layered process. We are winning. We are. And the momentum is on our side. 90% of public opinion is on our side. Cross-political support is on our side. But we've got to keep the pressure up, because the other side is going to keep the pressure up. And you've got two levels there. You've got the people who just get their jollies from going out and killing these animals, which is what you're primarily seeing here. But you've got the high level, the safari clubs, the NRA, their interest is purely financial, and we're talking very major money. So they have a lot to lose if we get our legislations through. Yes?
What about those people who enjoy eating the sex organs of these murdered animals?
Well, what about them? I mean, they're sick and twisted people. who gets pleasure from taking a life, any life, for any reason. There may be reasons where you have to take a life, and I'm not condemning people who aren't vegan or anything like that in what I'm saying. What I am saying is, who takes pleasure from taking a life? What sort of person is that? Is that a person you want to buy from? Is that a person you want to vote for? So something else you can do is find out who the trophy hunters are. Don't patronise their businesses. Don't vote for them when they run for office, because those are the currencies they understand. Money and political power. So find out who they are, do not buy from them and do not vote for them. That's your power. And you can spread that word.
Is the WWF done anything?
On trophy hunting, not specifically. No, that's not one of theirs.
Do we have a big part of it in Australia that are part of
Yes, Australia was ranked 10th in the world for trophy hunting, so it was surprisingly high. Higher than the UK, in fact.
So that's our elites that are...
Yes, but we have now... Initially we banned the import of some species, but we now have brought in a ban of all the major species. So we can be proud to be Australian.
That's good.
Has there been any legal suits? Have there been any legal suits against shaming trophy hunters?
There have been. One of Safari Club's tactics is to frighten people with lawsuits. There have been defamation lawsuits. When I started this film, you would have seen all the legal disclaimers and quotes, or maybe you didn't, at the beginning of the film, because everything that you saw went through major legal counsel before it got aired, because that was a real concern, and it hasn't happened yet, that I would be sued for defamation or whatever else. But thank God to an major international law firm called K&L Gates. They have represented me pro bono, and they're there if that ever happens, so bring it on. Yes, it probably would. Thank you for that. But that's probably why they haven't done it. Because I mean, look at some of the names who are in my film and the geographies that we have covered. And I'll tell you another story about the music. The title track actually comes from a show called African Footprint, which was created by Richard Loring, and I saw over 20 years, and I knew over 20 years ago I wanted that particular song as the title track for this film that I hadn't yet made. But a friend of mine, Booker White, who has won a gazillion Oscars and Emmys for soundtracks and original compositions in Hollywood, was going to compose the original score. And the night before he was due to start composing, he had a major heart attack. He has come through it. But I was like, what are we going to do? So I spoke to Richard Loring, who by then had become my friend, and he introduced me to a group called the Mzanza Youth Choir in Soweto, who I'd never heard of. And this is a group of children who have been plucked out of the slums of Soweto, who often had no parents, no inside toilet facilities, sometimes no food to eat on a particular day, but they had the God-given gift of music. And a visionary man called Yanni Zyman formed this choir over 20 years ago now, and they agreed at the 11th hour to compose the original score and original songs in this film, which have gone on to win awards in their own right. And when I told Cliff Simon that, and Cliff was working in Hollywood by then, he's South African too, you know, we'd lost Booker, who was an Oscar winner, and I was working with this obscure group that had been plucked out of the slums of Soweto. He said, I know them. They are the soul of Africa, and didn't they do a phenomenal job? The music was amazing. So, yes?
If you have ideas of sort of protest in a sort of a new age form, who would you say is the best people to go to get that kind of help? Because while I was watching it, my head was just going boom, boom, boom.
Eduardo Gonzalez. He is absolutely the spearhead at this point. And you'll find contact to him on bandtrophyhunting.org. Anybody else?
Are we allowed to come and give you a massive hug?
Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely. Anyone that wants to come and give Lynn a hug, come and give her a hug. Well, I'm actually going to ask the panel to come down right now. I'm going to try and sort out these mics, but the rest of the panel can come down. Lynn, you can keep talking, but they can come down.
I think I'm done.
I have a
I'll
question.
wait.
With all the awards that you've won, what categories did you win in?
Mostly best documentary. I have won recently the Impact Documentaries Award out of Delaware. We won 3: best documentary, best nature wildlife film, and best consciousness awareness of raising. But mostly it's been in best documentary and what else have we won? And the music.
The music.
We've won lots of the music awards as well. Best original score, best songs, that sort of thing.
Does that mean that like mainstream might pick you up, like a Netflix and things like that?
It's always possible.
Recognisable, yeah.
It's always possible. That
So
would
that's
be
someone
nice.
we could write to then?
Yeah, well, and you can all write to Netflix say you've seen this amazing film
Yeah,
screening.
please.
do.
Yeah.
Lynn, did you call it stopbounceshunting.org?
BanTrophyHunting.org. When did it first screen? I think the first screening in Marina Del Rey would have been early 2001. Early 2021, sorry.
So much of the audience is going to write a letter to our newspapers.
It's not really an Australian issue anymore because we brought the laws in here.
I mean, look at our wildlife. Where is it?
Oh, well, yes, that is an issue for Australia, but it's a separate issue, it's not this issue.
No, why? I mean,
This is specifically about trophy hunting. Trophy hunting of the most endangered species for literally just pride, pleasure and profit.
or to write a letter to the paper and make people aware you've written this bill.
Please feel free.
They hate me.
Okay.
The council hates me. The government hates me.
Okay. So,
Doing a good job.
big
Yes,
round
it's-
of applause for Lynn.
Thank
please.
you, Lynn.
Thank you. Amazing.
Thank you, Lynn.
Amazing. And yes, she does need a big hug, so if anyone wants to come and give her a hug, please do. Now, we have a panel here that also do amazing things for wildlife. So I just want to introduce people. We have Jenni from Aussie Wildlife, and some of our proceeds tonight, we didn't get as much as hoped, but we'll go to Aussie Wildlife. We have Damon Steptoe, and he has a bush clinic at Canungra. I've been there. His property is phenomenal. He's in my film, the Fire Ant film. He was integral in being a frontline runner in trying to stop the Fire Ant program here on the Gold Coast. He has a beautiful property. His head is insane when you know the algorithms that go on in that brain.
Has it been sprayed?
Yes, it's been sprayed. I've been there. I was under the helicopters and it was horrible. It's the most horrible experience. The last year of my life, I got sick for months and months and months. The first time they nearly killed me, I was like almost paralysed from the fire ant bait. The very first time they did it at Currumbin Creek, because I don't take pesticides, I don't use any chemicals in my life. So when I first got introduced to these horrible chemicals, I got really sick, because that's what happens when you're not used to something and your immunity hasn't gained any immunity. It hurts you. So the first time I got whacked by these chemicals, I spent 3 days pretty much too sick to go to the hospital. And I'm the kind of person that avoids hospitals, so I thought I'd rather die in my bed. But anyway, that's another story. But Damon was a front level runner in that, and he'll talk about, I don't know what he's going to talk about today, but he might talk about this. And I don't know too much about you, so can you just tell everyone your name and quickly what you do?
Hi, my name's Daniel Brimblecombe, and I got invited because about a month ago my dog and I were attacked by another dog that got pushed out of a yard and set on us. So I started a petition, and I'm starting to take on the government about the laws around the dog attacks. because since the pandemic, there's been more and more dog attacks because they're not training them. They're attacking people, wildlife, and that's what I'm going to talk about.
Okay, so just quickly, I'm going to start with you, Jenny, because Jenny has come to us after feeding all her beautiful animals. That's why she can't be here the whole time, because it's a pretty full-on job, isn't it? So can you just stand up, because I want everyone to be able to look at you guys, and tell us about what you do for our incredible wildlife and animals here on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, so my name's Jenny. So I've been a wildlife carer for about 11 years. I came in a crossroad in my life quite some time ago, when I was about 5 years into it. It's hard yakka, it's emotionally hard, the politics is hard, the people around you, it just got too much to continue on doing it. And I just told myself, I said, I cannot leave this industry, because people leave in droves. They become carers, they care for a little while, and then they're gone and they're out because of all the stresses, the emotional stress, the financial stress. And I said to myself, I can't do that, I need to make a difference. And that's when I started up Aussie Wildlife. And our aim is to just keep pushing. You just got to keep pushing, just like everyone else here. It gets hard, but you just got to keep going. So what we do is we rehabilitate, we rescue, we raise, and we release wildlife all around the Gold Coast, quite far up north and down into the south and just across the border in Tweed. So there's quite a lot of legislation that's actually around being a wildlife carer. I mean, the book is this thick, and we're just people who love wildlife, who want to make a difference. And it's sad to see some carers get dragged through the coals. They have to go to court, they have to prove what they've done was right, that their decisions that they've made are right, and the legislation is really, really quite difficult to get around. But saying that, we do it because we love it. And I've got a lot of volunteers that come in and help me as well. So we do well over 1,000 birds. We focus on birds every year. We do everything from kookaburras to curlews to plovers. Not everyone loves a plover, but they're cute, honestly. The little babies are just the cutest little things ever. And we do swans. So I'm one of the only swan carers on the Gold Coast. So I've been fighting for quite some time to get a grant, and this is what we need to do as carers. You've got to fight to get some funding to improve your facilities, otherwise you've got to pay for it yourself. So it costs me about $20,000 personally per year to actually raise these animals, and then we also get funding to try and help replace equipment. So we've just been awarded $25,000 to build another big swan pond, so we can focus on raising and releasing all our beautiful swans. So we get them from eggs, and we hatch them, and then we get them through to release size.
Don't release them into our lake that I live beside, which is...
They're very territorial, so we've got to pick where we release them.
It's toxic with
fire. Yes.
Unfortunately, that's another. Yeah, it's another scenario. Our wildlife, and you must see, how has your wildlife been the last couple of years? Because I know my lorikeets in my backyard.
Yeah.
I live in Currumbin, and I feed my lorikeets every day. And as soon as I had the first baiting at the school across the road, my lorikeets would land on my deck and pull out all their feathers. So have you had an increase in lorikeets?
We've had huge increase in lorikeets, yeah. Paralysis is rampant. We're talking...
I got paralysed when I got sick, so there you go.
Yeah, thousands and thousands of birds. So many that the vets cannot actually keep up with the number of animals that are coming in, and they have really tough choices to make because there's not enough carers out there as well. The carers are fairly limited, and the legislation reduces the amount of animals that we can actually care for. So you can only care for a certain number on your property, regardless of what your facilities are like. So if you could care for 1,000 animals, no, you're only allowed 50.
If you live near a lake, I feed frozen peas to my swans.
Yes, yeah, that's a good thing to do. Peas.
So
corn,
just
lettuce.
quickly back on the lorikeets and the bats. So I interviewed the vet at Coromon Wildlife Sanctuary in October to December last year. Now the water reports between October and December last year were red. No one should swim in our creeks. In the whole Gold Coast, all across Gold Coast and all across Brisbane. Now they said it was, one day there was a sewage thing and they made it that. But we know because we film the chemicals every day in these creeks. So basically, Coromon Wildlife Sanctuary, I asked the vet, I interviewed him. They said that they're not quite sure of the source, but then they got $6 million funding, followed by $14 million funding from Leon Rebello, who's our new MP, who actually got the fire ant bait into the Gold Coast, and he admitted that to us personally.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about that when these people are getting massive amounts and yet you guys are trying to deal with the same problem every day?
That's correct. Yeah, it drives me nuts, and because the legislation just also again stops us doing even more. So it's absolutely crazy that we have to fight for funding, but organisations like that. I mean, they do a great job because a lot of my animals come from Currumbin. But they don't have enough carers because there's just not the support out there. So they're all getting euthanized. So,
That grant was for education, not helping wildlife.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And education grants are big at the moment, but you can't feed a bird with education.
Well, you can, but it chokes on the paper.
Yeah.
Like us all, right?
That's right, exactly. And it's there needs to be more support because it's human problems. We're creating this problem not only with chemicals and toxicity, but recreation like fishing, boating. I know we need to do that, but it's actually destroying our wildlife because we get swans in all the time that have hooks. Question?
Yeah, what grants are there for people? I've done WildCare certificate at Coromon Wildlife to caring for Australian native wildlife.
Yes.
But like you said, the cost to get started, I live on acreage out at Boylan.
Yeah.
And it's my retirement plan to,
Yeah.
to have a few cabins and have a wildlife there. But listening to this, are there grants that you can get from
There
the
are,
government to be
there
able
are,
to
but you've got to be an independent carer. So if you're with another organisation like Wildcare, they're meant to be supporting you with funding. I was with an organisation and they couldn't actually fund me, so I pretty much funded myself. So be aware that there is, that it's not a given that they're going to be able to financially support you in your journey. So it's a matter.
So how do we support you?
That's right. Well, I mean, look, obviously funding is one of the main things, but just looking out for the
Buy raffle tickets tonight. Thousands of prizes. We will give some money to Aussie Wildlife for their battling on, so please.
Yeah, but thank you for your question. It is tough, and it's a large cost, and you'll go through a lot of emotion. Animals die. There's not much we can do about that. But you just got to keep going. There's lots of politics. Just keep focusing on what we're here to do. We're here to save the animals.
Natives in your own garden.
Yeah, that's right, exactly. But yeah, try not to let the noise around you stop you from doing what you want to do because it screams and it jumps on you and it punches you in the face and you've got to look past that and just keep saying, no, I'm doing it anyway.
Well done, Jenni Abbott.
Amazing. We need leading lights like Jenni in our community because without these wildlife carers, my mum, she's the one that's pretty vocal. Anyway, she was a wildlife carer since I was a kid. That's how I grew up. Looking after animals, she spent her whole life looking after animals. That's why she's so passionate because she's just seen it her whole life.
Well, that's right, and everyone sort of thinks that some of these species are doing really well, like the common magpie. Everyone goes, oh, there's magpies everywhere. But don't forget, they're concentrated now. So there's so much lack of habitat that they're all together in such a small area. And there was a study in Sydney that they're saying that like a magpie lives 20 years or something like that. So what's happening in Sydney in this study is that the babies aren't surviving. So where there used to be quite a high birth rate and high survival rate, they're not surviving in that same level. So
Here we go.
So they're talking about that in a certain period of time, there's just going to be this massive drop off of even just the common magpie, which is quite sad. And things like we had a carer who did some rescues just last week. Went and rescued 4 barn owls, and all 4 barn owls had to be euthanized. So it's just, and that's
know what
from?
from?
They're hit by cars.
Oh,
Yeah.
not only that, they spray for mozzies, and they are a keystone species.
That's right. Same with the rat poisons. We get lots of poisonings, everything from possums to a lot of the raptors.
Insecticides, herbicides, they do the same job. They don't just kill the target species, they kill the entire food chain, including us.
That's right. And I've got local, obviously, snakes and raptors around my place, and I've seen dead animals because I know the neighbours who have horses. They bait because they don't want the rats in amongst their horse feed, and the other side bait as well. So I've spoken to them, but you know, it's something hard that's to change people's mindset, because they see a problem and they just want to fix that problem. They don't understand about where that goes.
Just to pass on this information, I live in Cornwall Park.
Yes.
And in the Gerard Avenue there, I was notified by one of the residents there that the council were using Roundup to kill up all the weeds along that area. Now, along that area, it's quite rainforesty, it's damp and shaded, if you know that area, and a lot of the frogs and everything there were hibernating and breeding. And he asked them, what are they using? They admitted they're using Roundup. Now, like, that's just killing off, along with the baits that are going on now with the fire ants. It's just getting out of hand. Council is allowing this to happen. They should know Roundup shouldn't be imported in Australia. It's been banned from many countries, as I understand.
Oh, they used it in Korea so they could kill people, and the trees didn't have anything.
So what I can't understand why council and our local members are not even looking into this sort of situation that's going on in our own backyards.
But that's right, you're quite correct, because it affects the
Council and the local member got these programs in. That's the only reason they're not looking into it. And it's a $1 billion or $38 billion economy here in Australia, and that's our problem.
By using insecticides.
The chemicals in Australia are worth $38 billion. The new weed control program in Australia is this is the next fire ant thing.
Yeah.
Every site that I saw that they started this weed control, the big 4 years is 23 to 27. Has everyone heard those numbers? 23 to 27? There's a 4-year program here in Australia. The Brumbies is a 23 to 27 year program. The fire ants is a 23 to 27 year program. The weed control is a 23 to 27 year old program. This is the same stem, it's the same roots, it's the same baby that is being harvested. So they've got this 4-year plan of, I don't know what they're trying to achieve, but it's basically crashing the ecosystems. And that will look like climate change.
The other thing I'd like to say is that in long term, with all this baiting with the fire ants, it's disrupting our soils. The farmers are having problems there with organic farming and doing their own little farm thing at home. Now, it seems to me that they're trying to prevent this from happening, and we're not being able to say no. We don't accept that. We want to be able to grow our own vegetables and have our own chooks and have our own eggs. We don't want these things being baited and with this fire ant bait, because it will go into the eggs, and the eggs are passed on. Yeah.
I'm actually going to throw this question to Damon. Can you just pass because Damon has had them bait his property. So Damon was the first person to stand up in court against the fire ant people. Damon, why don't you tell this story?
Okay.
What was the question again?
She's talking about the fire
There's a
ant
few topics there.
bait.
Yeah, I know I had a few, didn't I? I ran into
You're
a
talking
few.
about glyphosate.
Yeah, well, and what's used in
Roundup.
the bait.
Okay, something I'll say really quickly on this. So I've got the scientific nerdy side, and you know, we do lots of things at the Bush Clinic. Lin will tell you all about it.
It's amazing.
I'm into water because it's not such a bad place to start. Okay, there's a reason we all need water.
Yes, sir.
And the first thing is water is not just a clear liquid. I think we all know that. It basically starts as spring water and more or less ends up in the ocean and then goes around again and under the ground, etc. Water naturally has a molecule called deuterium. Now, I'm not going to bore anyone on this. Deuterium is D2 heavy water. There's a few people talking about it on YouTube these days. Some of them get it, a lot of them don't. How can you blame anyone for not knowing what the fudge that is, right? They use it in nuclear reactors. It's a special type of water. Spring water is typically deuterium free. That's why spring water is valuable. And as it is in contact with the sunlight, so spring water is always in the shade and is cool, unless you're out in the middle of the desert, in which case it's probably a thermal spring. As you get more sunlight and you go towards the ocean, the levels of deuterium go up. And because D2 is heavy water, you find the least amount in the springs higher up, literally because it's heavy, right? Where am I going with this? Glyphosate bonds to deuterium. And glyphosate will stay in your body comfortably for 9 months. It's in bread. So some of the live blood analysis guys, they're really good. There are ways to even see Roundup in your blood. I can tell you everybody in this room's got it, no matter how vegan you think you are, it's there. No disrespect or nothing scary. It's okay, right? It's not, but it is. So there's a lot of relevant science behind even Roundup, and there's a reason why it's been banned, and there's these huge court cases, etc. And so where this dovetails in with the fire ant guys is with me, they turned up at my front door looking for a signature before they said anything. And I actually asked them what it was. I kind of knew what it was, but I wanted to know, were they going to disclose it, etc. And that stuff's shocking. It's an estrogen analogue. And estrogen is the master hormone for just about every living creature with legs, pretty much. Even testosterone is secondary to estrogen. All the ladies go, yeah. It's true though. So if you give additional estrogen to a female, it spills over into testosterone and you get an imbalance. And if you give additional estrogen to a male, well, it just tops up next to the testosterone and you get an imbalance. And there's all sorts of strange things going on with these fire ant pellets that Lin and I have talked about a long time. There's more than just fire ants going on here. I think we all know that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
The question is, what do we do about it? So, and again,
they're heading for something.
Lin and I have talked about this a lot, and you can get bogged down in that side of it forever. I'm very solution orientated on this. I truly think any of us would get bogged down in it forever, and that's probably part of the objective. Yeah. So I've been busy developing all sorts of things to solve these problems and learn about it at the same time, so that one day we can actually educate people about spring water and why it's so different to seawater, for example. There's a reason why anywhere in the world where you've got continued sunlight, it's always salty. And if you said, nah, I found a lake that's fresh water, I guarantee it's spring fed. Whenever that water is in contact with sunlight, it gets sodium chloride in it eventually. And you think about the human body, we drink fresh water, we can't drink seawater, can we? No. And what comes out through your bladder? Salt water. You know, there's basic patterns going on with how we use water in all living creatures. 2 seconds. I was just going to say, what the fire ant guys did to me, of course it wasn't fun. You know, pissed me off a fair bit. Just got it out of my system. However, it was the biggest blessing in disguise because it motivated me to look for solutions that I can tell you are nowhere in the world at the moment. I never would have found them. So I thank them. They'll make me wealthy one day.
What are the solutions?
Yeah, that's my question, because I'm from Boylan as well, and as you know, we've got a problem out there. I mean, I've had 2 kids' neighbours go into anaphylactic shock and nearly die from the bites. I'm finding on my creek our wildlife dead because of them.
Think of it as a game of chess,
Yeah.
which it kind
Well,
of is.
who dropped the fire ants?
Can I just ask, are you sure they're dying from the fire ants? Because what ants do is clean up animals. And at the moment our water's quite toxic. So you've got to be very careful that you're not looking at a species of animals that's actually doing a cleanup. Did you see the crown of thorns in my film there? So I just want to take just a quick break from this because it's all about the water, right? In my new film, Toxic Waters, it's all about the fact that the rivers spill into the ocean. They're our veins, right? So if you pollute the rivers at source water, Snowy Mountains, where they're fire ant baiting here, you affect the whole ecosystem. So those crown of thorns, so I got called in to be a board of directors of the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, right? Oh, I said, what's your answer that you're getting all these billions of dollars, $500 million, plus you're asking people for money? What's your answer for the Great Barrier Reef? Oh, well, we're going to chemically inject all the crown of thorns starfish. I said, what? So hang on a minute, because the reef's dying from a number of reasons: deforestation and chemicals, which you saw mainly, and overdevelopment. I said, it's not rocket science.
Let's give them some more.
Let's give them some more. And out of the $500 million, it was a $5 million project. I'm like, and the rest of the money? Well, never got an answer. Anyway, my simple thing is, if you ants are there to clean up, crown of thorns are there, they clean up because that water's nutrient rich, right, Damo? Once you put chemicals in the water, explain to us what happens once chemicals enter a water system.
It destroys everything, starting with the water. So deuterium is a very simple way of saying it's just one little example of if you graph the increase in deuterium from springs to the ocean, it becomes less drinkable to humans at least. You know, fish, they don't seem to mind it too much. So many chemicals, you'll find that for many years, no one's allowed to patent a natural substance. How convenient is that, right? What that means is everything we're talking about is synthetic. That's why our slogan at the Bush Clinic is find yourself in nature, right? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And any of these synthetic chemicals, syntheticals,
I like that.
yeah, you know what I mean. Any of these synthetic chemicals, by their own definition, must be harmful because they're not natural and they upset biological processes. It's a bit of a no-brainer.
And just so you know, the interesting thing, when you stress an animal, whether it be a mosquito or an insect, whatever it happens to do, they become more toxic. So the Panama is a classic example with the yellow fever. When they started disturbing all the forests there, they didn't have yellow fever there. As soon as they started bringing all the forests down and doing all the destruction, the animals have a reaction to that. They need to defend themselves. Like, fire ants are getting nailed left, right and centre. They're going to go into an extreme way of reacting to that, whether we like to admit it or not. It's the way it is. An animal will bite you if it feels stressed. It will attack you. I don't know how to solve your anaphylactic problem. That's something that your kids may react.
We took 2 wallabies in and it was confirmed that it's fire ant bites it's in close proximity of the nesting.
Well,
No,
that means
it's no.
someone's dropped
So they're not the nicest ants,
No.
and I agree with
They
that.
had all these big pustules.
So they do that, but I was told in confidence the girl was happy to speak out. But in 2019, she worked on it. She had a big property west of Brisbane, and she saw all these helicopters and she saw pepper dropping out of them. Well, guess what? She woke up with fire ants around her caravan. So once something's worth billions of dollars, suddenly it explodes. They're everywhere. So there's a fine line we have to cross, right? And they're not the nicest creatures, but other ants also have that bite. So we've got to learn to manage the sites. But we've also got to understand how they're distributing and how they're spreading. That new development that they had in the Gold Coast where they all turned up, guess who's a part of it? Our mayor and his mates. So why is it turning up? Anyone else get shut down? All these poor little nurseries getting shut down, and these guys are distributors, and we don't even hear a word of it.
I think it's very careful that we don't blame the kitchen knife for the cut, too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Kitchen knives are handy. Everyone's got them. But if you wave it around, you might cut yourself. Yeah, fire ants are nasty. Sorry?
I like the boiling water one.
Oh, yeah.
There's loads of different ways, and honestly, we've come up with stuff. To answer your original question, if you don't mind, I'll come right back to it.
Yeah.
Think of it as a game of chess. We need to put that into context. There are answers on that chessboard, and it's going to be complicated. It's not going to be a straightforward thing. We know how to win. It's really easy. You take the king. Right? Getting there is slightly different. And you can't just flick the king off the board. So I know the solutions to some of these things, and I wish like mad. Ask Yoshimi, I wish like mad I could just walk out there and implement them. But we need support and funding. We've got to get the government behind this, and we need people to start thinking differently, because there's going to be another bug out there tomorrow, and then another one. This has been going on forever. What we need to do is rearrange everything so that we actually learn something from it, if that makes sense. So unfortunately, it's not as simple as just dropping the solutions. I'll be there when people are ready, don't you? Or I'll be there. I'll gladly. I can't wait. I'm champing at the bit. But unfortunately, I've already offered solutions to some people, and they don't want to hear it. Not much I can do.
Damon, we were at the One Nation event yesterday, and one of the interesting things, I think it was Connie. Can you back me up on this? Connie Turney was talking about the scale they were used with regards to the fire ant pain.
Oh yeah, the fire ants weren't the highest pain index on any ant.
No, that's right, bees. No, bees were.
Bees were higher, so there was this whole scale index. The problem is anaphylactic shock comes from a lot of different things, jellyfish, like there's a whole lot of things can spark that. So that is an individual problem, and it's something that's important, but we've got to look at what's the bigger picture in all of this. So sorry that your kids have been through that.
I'm not like this. I've had my neighbour's child bitten, I think, 6 times.
I've seen it too. I've seen a young lamb that died.
Yeah.
Well, not with my own 2 eyes. But
Yeah, we've had on our street, I think 4 dogs die from the bite.
the logical point is, I don't think anyone in this room is saying they're not a pain in the ass, right?
Yeah.
But so are snakes if you wind them up.
Yeah.
And cars if you don't wear a seatbelt, and we can actually go on forever, hence the kitchen
Yeah.
knife.
Humans kill. There's so many more murders.
It's really not what the question
is. Should we get
is.
rid of all the humans? You know, we've got to be very, very careful in how we react to something. That and all I can say is over the last the few years that they've been using the poisons, the fire ants got far worse. So they're not solving the problem, and that's the problem. So if you're nervous about fire ants, they're 10 times worse in the last couple of years than they've ever been in the history.
Taking out whole states of Texas where people can't even live.
Actually, we speak to the head people in Texas. There's completely different versions. There's completely conflicting versions on all that stuff.
Did you have a quick question from yesterday? Yeah.
No, I was just talking about this pain aspect, because I'm anaphylactic to bees.
Yeah.
So
have you got an EpiPen?
No, I don't, because I just, I'm protected. I'm in the protected zone.
We're going to start running some raffles as well. I just want to get on to our last speaker, talking about bites.
I'll sit down.
He's talking about dog bites. And I just want to give him 5 or 10 minutes, and we're just going to draw some raffles. So get your raffle tickets out. Anyone that wants to buy any more can come to us. In the meantime, take it away.
Okay, I only need 5 minutes anyway. Hopefully I can lighten things up a little bit. And it was really interesting tonight, though, the fact that you sort of go into something based on something that happens, because such as the fire ants and so on, and you sort of go into those animal rights and animal protection based on something that occurred. And that's where I wanted to talk tonight about, well, since the pandemic, dog ownership exploded. Everyone wanted a lockdown buddy, but forgot the training part. We went from stay 1.5 metres apart to, why is your staffy biting my ankle? So that was a good joke. That's better. Attacks are up, shelters are full, and councils are drowning. We didn't just buy pets, we adopted responsibility. Too many drop the leash. There's another joke. That's why they left me for last. My boy Wilfred and I, he's a big black Shar-Pei, so he's like my son. I don't have any kids myself, but he's like my child. This is the sad story part, so this probably doesn't take laughter. But him and I, 2 attractive fellas walking down the street. We were attacked by a dog released out of a yard. Unfortunately, we think it was intentional, but it's been an ongoing fight to sort of get some justice on that. And then the owners came out and abused us and stood over us as we were both covered in blood. So that's the sad part of the story, and then we'll move to the sort of the other parts of the prevention. And also the police declined to attend, which is part of the law end of things. So although we're getting threatened and abused, the police have just decided that wasn't important for them. But yeah, that's all good. I'll go to my next card. So if you do get attacked by a dog, because it is quite a frequent thing, the guy from the council said that he gets 30 new cases a week just for him. So if there's a department of 10 council officers in the Brisbane area, because I live over in Brisbane, that's probably about 300 dog attacks a week, which is quite significant. But there actually isn't any recording areas that say how many dog attacks there are. And it's all based around, and it's all just spiked, and they were telling me it's spiked since the pandemic. And in Queensland, the laws are handled by the council, and the dog is normally the one to blame and not the owner, which is crazy. Any other state?
Dogs should be restrained in their property.
Well, this dog had the gate open. The guy was stirring it up, and it's come out on charge. I won't tell the full story. If you wanted to look into that, because I've got the full story on social media. But I was more wanting to talk tonight about what to do if you are attacked by a dog. Because there are kids getting attacked by dogs every single week, as well as adults and other dogs. And it's important to stay on your feet. So don't go down, don't land back. Always, yes, be bigger than the dog. Unfortunately, that's what I did try to do. I picked up my boy to be bigger than the dog, but the dogs just jumped on us to take bites out. So it is still a practical strategy then. And use barriers, so put things between you and the dog. Speak low and firm, no screaming. I probably did a bit too much shouting because it did catch me by surprise. You can, if you're behind and you want to sort of intervene, don't go for the mouth, grab the back legs. And if all else fails and the dog is locked on with a jaw, you can stick the finger in the bum. So it does work. I did the research. I wasn't at the rear of the dog. So
hose.
Yeah, all the hose. Stick something in the bum. If the dog's coming at you or someone else, then just go for it. Yes, don't go straight to the bum.
At least buy him dinner first.
I already had part of my dog in my case.
I separated 2 dogs fighting in our school playground. I grabbed them by the scruffs of the neck and held them apart. and no one came to help me.
Yeah, that's very common. I had people stand back and just watch it happen, and nobody jumped in until a lady came out and told the guy that set the dog on us to get the dog off us. So
he set the dog on you.
well, it looked like that from my angle, but it's alleged. And call cancel, not the police, because obviously they won't turn up. And you'll also make sure that you pull out your camera and start filming at that point, and take details like a car accident, because unfortunately that's the only way you're going to get anything back for that. And go to the vet or the hospital after that, of course, document everything. And then I just want to make sure that we just talk about just the training, because everyone that says they love their dog, but love isn't leadership. So we have to encourage people, anyone that's getting a dog, to be a leader of that dog. It is a responsibility, because you wouldn't buy a Ferrari and never service it, and then shock that it crashes into a school. That's not a bad joke. Training is an option. It's the deal of getting a dog, and if you're dragging you across the park while you yell, "He's just being friendly," no, he's auditioning for Fast and Furious, Dog Drift Edition.
Yeah.
I might have a few more jokes in here also. Not about dangerous dogs, it's careless people. Every untrained, uncontrolled dog costs someone else. Good dogs die because bad owners can't be bothered, and that's not fair. And that's it's something that I'm fighting at the moment. And you can find my petition online as well, because I have started a petition because I wanted to change the laws around the dog ownership in Queensland, so they come in line with New South Wales and Victoria. Because it should be basically 100% liability on that. So secure your yard, use a lead, and be responsible dog owners. And remember, you can always stick the finger in the bum if all else fails.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
Yay.
We're going to keep going with the panel, but I just want to get some raffle tickets going. So we've got a bunch here. Right here. So these people need to come and get a prize. What prizes do you know what we're going to give up first?
I think just let them pick. Let them pick what they want.
Okay.
Yeah.
So first out gets to pick. I've got a bunch of tickets here. So I'm going to start with
Animal Action Film Festival.
Hillary.
Prizes.
Go and pick a prize.
Thank you to
Hillary,
all our
you're the
donors
first
of raffle
lucky
prizes.
winner.
Thank you to
Okay,
all our
who have we got
donors.
next? Tracy.
Yay.
Tracy.
Yay.
You're
Thank
a
you,
lucky
Tracy.
winner.
Thank you for joining us.